you walking out my door. I wanna grab a frying pan and lay you out on the floor. That filth you talk, that stench just flies out of you. I should have listened, yeah, I should have.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Or at least I'm not sure what time it is where you are located, but it's morning here. And well, actually, it's not morning. It's a little like afternoon. I've been up since 6, gathering some information to chat and take a look at. Things are ramping up, of course, as I figured they would be. And, what can I say? Things are going the direction that I thought they would go. We got some stories here in the headlines. Of course, you can't get away from the coronavirus thing. You cannot get away from it. It is there. It's going to stay there. It might be here for years. In fact, this might be the new norm. And the laws that they're passing now might be the new norm. I know that a lot of Democratic governors are coming under fire for imposing the lockdown situations, stay-at-home rules, and social distancing, shutting down beats, shutting down streets, you name it. Yeah, they shut it down. All in the name of we're all in this together. Which is hogwash, because they are not in it at all, are they? Governors, politicians, they are not including themselves in this pandemic. They are immune from the effects of this pandemic. Why? Well, I think you know why. I think you know my answer to that. They live in different worlds than we do. They are not affected by the shit that they're causing. Not at all. Though average, normal, everyday people are the ones feeling the blunt of this. And here's a story right off the bat about a Michigan barber, defying the governor's order. He's been stripped of his license. He can no longer practice within that state, which is a shame. His customers that came into his shop all realized what they were getting into, if they're really getting into anything. They chose this voluntarily. They used their own mind, their own thoughts, and decided, I'm going to go to the barbershop. But yet, apparently, in America, you do not have the freedom of choice. Do you? You have the freedom of choice to drink yourself to death, to smoke yourself to death, but don't have the choice to go into a barbershop. Let's take a look here. A Michigan barber who reopened his shop in defiance of Governor Gretchen Whitmer's coronavirus shutdown orders had his license temporarily stripped on Wednesday. Carl Mank, 77. He's 77 years old. Became a symbol of resistance when he opened the doors of his Owasso shop on May 4th and refused to close, pledging to keep his doors open until police arrest him or Jesus walks in. That's funny. I'm going to keep my place open until Jesus Christ, the Almighty himself, comes in for a haircut. You know, all the pictures of him kind of portrays him as somewhat of a hippie, long hair and scruffy and So yeah, I guess a barbershop would be a great place for, Jesus to walk into if he wants to, be up to date in the, in the new fashion, hair fashion. Or perhaps he's a little bit like, or he was a little bit like me and really didn't care about, hair fashion or whatnot. But that's kind of funny. After a judge declined to sign an order. So a judge declined to sign an order to shut down his shop on Monday. Without first holding a hearing, state regulators opted to suspend Mankey's barber and shop license. It is paramount that we take action to protect the public and do our part to save our lives, to save lives. You see, this is the common phrase, we need this to do this to save lives. They don't care about saving lives. This is, the rhetoric that they put out there. Oh, it makes them sound good. They're trying to save lives. No, they're not. They're not. However, Mankey's attorney, Dave Coleman, told the Lansing State Journal that the state's action against a 77-year-old barber is an abuse of power. Well, of course it's an abuse of power. I think it's totally vindictive, Coleman said. It's petty. It's totally in retribution because they don't like the court order from earlier this week. And I guess the court order from earlier this week is, no, we're not going to shut this guy down. We have to have a hearing first. And I guess we don't need no hearing. We don't need no stinking hearing. We're going to take his license away. Ha! That way, we don't really have to shut his shop down. He doesn't have a license. And now, isn't that ridiculous to begin with? Why do you need a license to cut somebody's hair? That's in itself is asinine. Let's start right there. Why would you need a license to cut somebody's hair? The person coming into your shop says, I need a haircut. The guy cuts his hair. If the guy is not happy with the outcome, he won't come back. If you go in to get your hair colored and it comes out purple, well, you're not going back. You're spreading the word. You are spreading the word around town. Don't go here. The market will take care of itself. This barber shop, or we'll say a hairdresser, will not be in business long. For Christ's sake, you need a license to catch a goddamn fish, and you need a license to cut hair. That is just ridiculous. One of the main reasons why they have license is to protect the people who basically have a monopoly on the product or service that they're selling. Yeah, they jump through the hoops. They pay all the licensing fees. They get a good foothold in the market, and they don't like competition. It's basically the same story that we had with taxi services. You have to buy a taxi license. It's hundreds and thousands, if not millions of dollars, depending on what city you're in. And then we have a company like Uber, Lyft, come in. Oh, they say, wait a minute, they're taking away our business. No, they're not taking away your business. It's not your business at all. It's whoever business wants to open it. Yeah? So that's just ludicrous. I mean, here in Germany, it's still illegal. Uber and Lyft, they're still illegal. Mankey is still able to cut hair until the suspension is served, which could be any day. It had not reached the barber's hands as of Wednesday afternoon, the paper reported. He can ask for an immediate hearing with an administrative law judge at the Department of Licensing and Regulation Affairs to fight the order. Mankey has cut hair for 60 years. Yeah? In this small town 40 miles northeast of Lansing. He told reporters after reopening that he had no choice but to return to work because money got tight. Yeah, I'm sure. He was issued a cease and desist order and 2 misdemeanor citations that could result in fines of totaling over $1,000. But he refused to close. Well, good for him. Yeah, good for him. And I'm sure that his long-time customers, because for Christ's sake, he's been cutting hair for 60 years in that town. He must have a loyal following. They're going to come to his aid. They will come to his aid. Under Whitmer's strict stay-at-home orders, hair salons and barbershops have been closed for weeks to curb the spread of the coronavirus. The governor has faced mounting criticism, including armed protests at the Capitol and death threats online for her restrictions. Okay. I'm not sure if we want to go as far as death threats. I mean, but still, yeah, death threats, I don't really, yeah, but, I mean, I can understand. Anybody should be able to understand these people's outcry and the reason for their discontent. And if you look at it from their perspective, perhaps you might be thinking, well, this governor's orders is putting these people's lives at risk. Perhaps not lives as in you're going to die, but the life in which you had led up to that point is now under threat. Perhaps you will no longer be able to stay where you live because you can't afford it. Perhaps your children will not be allowed to go to this club or this activity that you pay for because, you have no income coming in. So it is a threat to your livelihood, that's for sure. His defiance attracted the attention of Michiganders from across the state who drove hours to support Mankey at his shop, some even getting haircuts. Let's see. I don't need the governor to be my mother. God damn right. There you go. There you go, guy. This 77-year-old, after you've lived that long, 77 years old, why would you accept? Why would you stand down, bend over, and do what the governor tells you to do? Because it's in your own best interest. Well, goddamn it, I've been around for 77 years. I think I know what my goddamn best interest is. I've been cutting my hair in the shop for 60 years. I have a business in this community longer than you've probably been alive, which is probably true. And now somebody comes and tells him that, I'm doing this for your own best interest. I have one. What did he say here? Oh, I have one. Yeah, my mother. God bless her. She's gone now. I don't need another mother. I can make these adult decisions myself. I think a lot of it, this is what it boils down to, yeah? Can people make decisions for themselves? Can they? Can people make decisions for themselves? I mean, perhaps if you got kicked in the head by a horse and you're a little bit woozy or whatnot, maybe, you might have a difficult problem with it. But can people make decisions for themselves? And even if that guy can't make a decision for himself, does that mean we're going to limit everybody's ability to make a decision for themselves? Just because the guy who got kicked in the head with a horse is a little bit, I mean, we're punishing everybody. Everybody. So, I have to say hats off to this guy. Kudos. I mean, and we're seeing this again and again and again. The one lady who opened up her shop defying the order was put in jail. So, yeah, it's going on. It's going on. Now, this is really interesting. This was kind of shocking. It's very spooky sounding. It's very, what do I say? Kind of like Mission Impossible kind of thing going down here. Chinese ambassador to Israel is found dead in his home. Foreign Ministry says. That sounds a little fishy, doesn't it? He's found dead in his home. What the hell's wrong with this website? Oh, here we go. This is on CNN. Yeah. And we know, and recently people, the so-called experts have come out. I guess there was a somebody from Australia came out and said that the virus was formed, it was created in China. And there are so many conspiracy theories out there right now that do not hold any water for me at all about saying that China has released this on the world purposely. What? Like they want to take over the whole world? Come on. Really? Are you serious? I mean, some people who believe this, I mean, I hear this on Fox News all the time. Yeah. They want to take over the whole world. They're going to come in and buy up everything. Well, if they do, they do. I mean, I have no problem with a country coming in and buying land or buying a business. That's makes, a good business sense. Yeah. But I hold these conspiracy theories are, for me, they're too far out there. It sounds like, Bigfoot and the lizard people are planning to take over the world. Yeah, okay, whatever, dude. But this story is a little bit, it's got some, Mission Impossible kind of thing to it. China's ambassador to Israel, I think it is, was found dead inside his official residence Sunday morning, a spokeswoman for Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs told CNN. At this stage, the 57-year-old man's death is not being treated as suspicious. So I guess he didn't have a knife protruding from his chest, or his throat wasn't slit, or he didn't have, he wasn't riddled with bullet holes. So, looks okay. Maybe he just died. Police are outside the ambassador's residence in north of Tel Aviv as part of standard procedure. Okay, his death comes less than a week after U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo visited Jerusalem, openly criticizing China's action during the coronavirus pandemic, as well as calling on Israel leaders to stop signing major infrastructure and communication deals with Chinese companies. Sounds, like I said, a little bit interesting. There has been no comment on the ambassador's death from the Chinese embassy in Israel or the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Beijing. Ambassador Du assumed his current role in Israel in February 2020, according to the embassy's webpage, as a coronavirus pandemic was sweeping across the globe. He wrote in an article in Jerusalem Post in mid-March that he immediately had to enter 2 weeks of mandatory self-quarantine on his arrival. He was married with one son. So, what do you think? What do you think? Hey, guy, how you doing? What do you think? Just die? I am 57 years old. I mean, I know people who have died at, younger than that. Natural causes, heart attacks. And his his profession, I'm sure was incredibly stressful, especially in these current times, But to portray the Chinese government and to portray the Chinese companies as evil, I'm sorry. That doesn't work for me. That does not work for me. And to put out this concept they've planned this whole thing. They released this virus on the world is ludicrous. I mean, the American government was caught recently. It came to light in parts of Africa. They were actually causing the spread of the AIDS virus. Was it to wipe out the population in Africa? I don't think so. I think it was to test different medicines on these people, using them as human guinea pigs. And this is a common knowledge. Of course, it came out one day and disappeared the next. And people acknowledged it. People in government acknowledged it. Yeah, we did it. But then, it got swept under the table as quickly as possible by some other story. Some bombing in somebody's country to take people's attention away from that. But this sounds a little bit fishy to me. Sounds a little bit fishy. What doesn't sound fishy, but is, I guess people, there are all sorts of people in the world. Yeah. And it definitely sounds suspicious. And I don't think he just died. And I don't think the Chinese people or governor are evil, or that the government made it intentionally. But I definitely think the governments all over the U.S. and Chinese are taking advantage of the pandemic. Absolutely. Yeah. I would agree with this statement 100%. I don't think the Chinese people are evil at all. I tell you, I've had a lot of contact in the last job that I had. I had a lot of contact with Chinese people. Even before that, I had contact. And, this is something that our governments do. They give us a boogeyman. You, son, you're American. So you have to dislike the Russians. At least that's what it was like when I was growing up. Yeah. They are evil. They want to kill us. Plain and simple. And so you grow up with that. Yeah. You grow up with that. You are indoctrinated at school time. These are bad people. And you are taught that. You are taught that. And now you are taught, the Chinese are communist. And okay, so what? Who cares? Who cares? They're socialists, they're communists. Okay, it's their country, for Christ's sake. If the people within that country have had enough of it, then rise up. Rise up. But God damn it, leave them alone. It's their country. It's their business. America is too goddamn ridiculous in trying to, spread their democracy throughout the world because they don't even have it at home. Come on. Really? It's definitely like 1984. It's definitely like 1984. It has been like 1984 for a while now. But it's getting closer and closer and closer to that. And what was that other film? Oh, no, that was 1984 I'm thinking of. Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. So, anyway, yeah, we're brought up. We are raised to know who our enemies are. Yeah. And we know that. But so anyway, yeah, there are all different types of people in the world, yeah? And in one way, that's what makes the world so interesting. It's great that there are so many other, different types of personalities in the world. It's great that there are people who are jerks, because that just gives us when you do meet a nice person, yeah? That just makes that encounter so much nicer, yeah? But these people, I don't know what to say about these people. I really don't. Talk about 1984 and talk about, just accepting things without question and just kind of going along with it. this for me kind of takes a cake. I'm gonna I'm gonna show you something here, and take a look at it. Here we go. So here we are in a German cafe, and these people are wearing swim noodles on their head. Oh, is that so nice? Like the color. Oh, look at it. It's blue, and he has a blue shirt. Yeah, that looks great. Yeah, to impose these social distancing rules. And these people are happy that the whole world can see them look like fucking idiots. Look at a helicopter head. Oh, isn't that nice? That's, oh, come on, man. Everyone. Yeah. I wear a noodle. Oh, I was going to start singing, man. But I guess you really have to be desperate for a coffee. So much so that you can't make one at home. You want to go outside with your friends and drink coffee. And you're willing to wear one of these goddamn noodles on your head. As Germany loosens its COVID-19 lockdown restrictions and restaurants begin opening their doors to customers again, one cafe came up with a light-hearted way to ensure that patrons remain safe distance from each other. A safe distance from each other. Okay, is this something you would participate in? Would you wear one of those big things on your head just to sit out in a cafe? I don't know. You know, someone told me that, well, they're just making light of the situation, and that's fine. And I mean, that's fine. I mean, you could do this any day of the week. You can have a swim noodle on your head day Wednesday, or, you know, Aqua Mask Friday, or Superman Day Saturday, or everyone has to wear a costume or something like that. That's fine, man. You want to do that? That's great. But, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, I thought that was kind of funny, and I just wanted to show you that little video. Now, I've got something here, and I talked about this the other day. This kind of gives us a daily data summary from the New York Health Department here about deaths and how they are related to the COVID-19. And what we've got here is got like a little sheet here. Oh, I can zoom in on this a little bit. Here we go. This table shows only confirmed deaths. A death is considered confirmed when the person had a positive COVID-19 laboratory test. So, regularly. A death is considered confirmed when the person has a positive COVID laboratory test. So if a guy is confirmed that he is positive and he falls out the window and breaks his neck, he's died of the virus. We have underlying conditions. Now, what are the underlying conditions? I mean, this is something that we hear about a lot. What are the underlying conditions? And look at the numbers of the underlying conditions. Yeah, that's quite a bit. 5,000 over 75 and older, 65 to 74, 2,800, 45 to 64. I fall into that range. 2,851. Yeah, underlying conditions. But what are they? Well, let's take a look exactly and see what they are. Underlying conditions are diabetes, lung disease, cancer, immunodeficiency, heart disease, hypertension, asthma, kidney disease, GI or liver disease, obesity. Take a look at these. Take a look at these. Cancer? Cancer is an underlying illness. Cancer is an illness all by itself. You're going to die of cancer. I mean, granted, they've came a long way. But if you have something like pancreatic cancer, I'm sorry, that's a death sentence. That is a death sentence. Heart disease, kidney disease, liver disease, they include these. I mean, if you have these, your days are numbered to begin with. I think it sheds a lot of light on this. I mean, we've all heard underlying conditions, but I've never heard exactly what they were. And this is just in New York State. I wonder if these are different depending on the state. Yeah. What they consider an underlying condition is or not. I'm not quite sure. Yeah. So, how's everyone doing? Doing well? Doing well. How was your weekend? Yeah. I had a busy weekend. It's Monday here. I got a few things to do today. Not a whole lot, but a few things. One story that came out also, which this guy is getting a lot of blowback from. A lot of blowback. I got someone, those illnesses are deadly, but if the virus is just all of these, how is it a new virus? Or whatever they're calling it. Yeah, I've heard stories that it's not really a new virus. We've known about this virus for a long time, but it's a new strain of an old virus. But don't quote me on that. I'm not exactly sure. But there's been more stories coming out about immunizations and vaccines and how it's going to be, mandatory to have it. Yeah. Decided philosophical view, but it's a minor thing. Yeah, you have a lot of those. I mean, when you're in the mindset that you're in, you're going to have a lot of those. I have that all the time. I have them all the time. Yeah, I do. But, just kind of keep chipping away. A little bit here and there, a little bit here and there. But let's see. Did I get rid of that here? I dropped it somewhere. Okay, yeah, here we go. This guy came out and, think about this. What would have happened if we had had social media back during World War II, and you had a high-ranking Nazi, maybe a leader of one of the death camps, maybe in Dachau or Warsaw, came out using social media and proclaimed that what they are doing is inhuman, that we are creating genocide, we are causing genocide. What do you think the backlash on him would have been like? Probably not good. I mean, he would probably end up being thrown in one of those camps right away. Yeah. But that's kind of what's going on here with this one gentleman. He is a law enforcement official. And I have heard from numerous people, basically, pro-gun people, that they do know of officers that would not enforce laws that would require them to take away people's lawfully held weapons. Even if the order came from the chief of police, they would not do it. I'm not sure if I believe that. At that time, I said no, they wouldn't do it. If they did not enforce that order, they would be fired. They would be fired. I mean, and when you're faced with a financial situation like that, you're usually, most people think of themselves and their family first, and then the cause second, or their belief system second. But this gentleman, I guess, and well, actually, he's not out of Portland. He's out of the port of Seattle, so it could be Portland. Yeah, it's the guy from a cop. Yeah, Special Forces Veterans Police Officer Anderson. I haven't really seen it. I heard about it, but I haven't seen it.
You know, as a police officer, I'm compelled to make this video. I've been in law enforcement for 10 years, and I'm speaking to my peers, other fellow officers, people in any kind of law enforcement position. I've seen officers nationwide enforcing tyrannical orders against the people, and I'm hoping it's the minority of officers, but I'm not sure anymore, because every time I turn on the television, every time I look to the internet, I'm seeing people arrested or cited for going to church, for traveling on the roadways, for going surfing, opening their businesses, going to the park with their families, or doing nails out of their own house, using their own house as a place of business, and having undercover agents go there and arrest them and charge them with what? With a crime? I don't know what crime people are committing by doing nails in their own house, but we're seeing this more and more and more, and we need to start looking at ourselves as officers and thinking, is what I'm doing right? Now, I want to remind you that regardless of where you stand on the coronavirus, we don't have the authority to do those things to people just because a mayor or a governor tells you otherwise. I don't care if it's your sergeant or your chief of police. We don't get to violate people's constitutional rights because somebody in our chain of command tells us otherwise.
Okay, I'll stop there. So I give this guy credit, but we don't have the authority to violate people's constitutional rights. You do it all the time. You know, police officers do it all the time. You know, it's great. You know, I'm not discounting what he is saying. And as I said, I think it's great, the stand that he's taking. But they do this all the time. They violate people's constitutional rights all the time. This has become a standard norm. You're walking down the street and somebody asks you for some ID. Well, that's violating your constitutional rights, period. I don't have to show you my ID. I thought I lived in a free country. But anyway, but still, I do not want to discount that at least if this is where he has decided to take his stand, then fine. Fine. Yeah. I just wish they would extend it a little bit. Yeah. But kudos for the guy. And I guess he has gotten a lot of backlash just on social media sites. People can't believe he's coming out and saying this. I can't believe the police officer is not enforcing these rules, these laws. I mean, he should be fired. Like I said, he could be fired because he does not have any protection under the Constitution. He has a protection. He doesn't have protection. He has a union, and the governor is his boss. The governor is his boss. And if he is fired for doing this, or if he is removed from his status, apparently maybe he's a patrol officer or he's something like that, he will be given a desk job. Yeah? He will be given a desk job, pushing papers. And of course, he could fight that. And in the end, he would probably win, but it's going to take years for that to happen. And he knows that. Anytime you fight against the system, you are at you have the burden of proof. Yeah, he would win. If this was taken to the Supreme Court, he would win. But, as I said, after years. And he would have to sustain himself, basically, pushing papers until his time in court came. But, again, I will not discount his stand. I think it's great that he took a stand. But, yeah, I said that the only way the officer will win this if there's considerable actual backlash. Oh, they'll see how far he can take it. How far they can take it, yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that sentiment. Mm-hmm. So, that's pretty much all I've seen going on here. Let's see. Don't feel bad for Anderson. That's the cop. Who said in a follow-up post that he expects to be fired for insubordination. Yeah. While plenty take exception with his stance, he is still getting lots of love. In fact, a GoFundMe page started on Monday has already raised more than $340,000 for him. Not bad, eh? Not bad. More than you make it on the police force, I'll tell you that. More than you make on the police force. So, anyway, I just wanted to pop in here, say good morning, just see what I found here really early. I've got some things I got to take care of. I will be back later on in the evening. Of course, take phone calls. And so I hope you have a good day. I hope it brings something good. Yeah. Better than something bad. That's for sure. But I will be back. And I think later on this week, I will be putting out a schedule. Yeah, because as it has been right now, I've been kind of jumping on when I've had the time. But I'm putting together a schedule now, and so I will be on time at the same time on the same day. And so we get more of consistency going on here, yeah? That way the people who like what I say and like these ideas and these concepts, or just have it makes people think. That's great. I mean, that's the goal here. That's the goal. Make people think, make people hear thoughts that they hadn't perhaps thought of before. And that's the whole purpose of having an open line forum, so people can, give thoughts to me and other people who are listening that we might not have ever heard. And that's the whole concept here, the whole idea. So later on this week, I will be putting out a concrete schedule, and we'll hit it from there. Okay, then. You take care also, and until next time, which will be later tonight. Well, my night. Could be your morning, or whatever it is. Okay, take care.